Hello. Today I'll be informing you about tax evasion and tax avoidance. Tax avoidance is the illegal practice of not paying taxes by not reporting income, not reporting expenses not allowed, or by not paying taxes owed. Tax avoidance, on the other hand, is the legitimate minimizing of taxes using methods approved by the IRS. Businesses avoid taxes by taking all legitimate deductions and by sheltering income from taxes by setting up employee retirement plans and other means, all legal and under the Internal Revenue Code or state tax codes. Have you seen this?
Yes, it's terrible. All of the money that has been lost from the legal avoidance of taxes by large Canadian companies is not only costing Canadians billions of dollars, but to make up for this, the money is coming directly out of the paychecks of Canadians.
You're saying I can legally mess with the government? Count me in.
Are you sure? Actions like these can have considerable consequences, not only for yourself, but for the economy too. If every citizen gets it in their head that it's okay to avoid taxes through the use of tax havens, well then the Canadian economy will crumble and life as we know it will change.
Well, according to this article, the best tax havens in the world are Delaware, Luxembourg, Switzerland, Cayman Islands, London, Ireland, Bermuda, Singapore, and Belgium. I hope you're well connected.
Do you even know what a tax haven is? Or what the criteria is for the best tax havens?
Well, Google says a tax haven is a country where taxes are levied at a low rate. Oh, and the criteria that determines the best tax havens is dependent on a country's opacity and how effectively they handle money.
As your financial advisor, I must inform you of the impact of tax avoidance has had on other countries. Tax haven abuse by multinational corporations is exacerbating the global wealth gap and putting an excess burden on the developing countries. As a result of the release of the Panama Papers, light has been shed on the untiring efforts by companies and wealthy individuals to avoid paying taxes using offshore havens and loopholes in the tax laws, starving national governments of investment funds for education, healthcare, and infrastructure. By supporting these companies, we are placing too much financial pressure on developing countries, and this will ultimately lead to an economic crash of some sort.
How is this even legal anyways? There are not laws in place preventing this from happening?
Of course there are laws, but there are always loopholes and people willing to exploit them. I mean, technically the Canadian Tax Act is set up where there's a gray area whereby people do have certain flexibilities to actually lessen their tax burden. It's not necessarily tax avoidance, but the question is how far into the gray you really want to go will determine whether it's absolute tax evasion or tax avoidance.
What are your professional thoughts on tax avoidance then?
Tax avoidance has the same outcome as tax evasion, but is executed in a legal manner. In my opinion, it is a negative thing because it is mostly done by large companies, and by not paying the correct amount of taxes, it negatively impacts the economy because there is less economic growth and more pressure to put on the citizens of a nation to make up the deficit through further taxation. By supporting people who avoid taxes, we are weakening Canada as a whole and reducing our own integrity.
You're always right, but I hope we have a lot of tax-deductible expenses this year, or this will be a reoccurring conversation.